What does freedom mean to you? Does it mean the freedom to choose? The freedom to have a family and raise your kids according to your own values? What about living a wild, adventurous life, experimenting with music, relationships, or art? What does freedom really mean? What if freedom meant something that only a few Americans still understood? What if it meant that your choices and your values were set by you, rather than by some politician in a far-off capital? Some people think we're only free to choose to live exactly how they live, by their moral code, or their narrow worldviews. But if liberty means anything, it means that you, and you alone, have the power to exercise your rights to which the laws of nature and nature's God granted you. It's time to put these principles back into action. It's time to restore the American dream, activate in our communities, and take our country back. It's time to wake up, America. Good morning. Happy Thursday. It's time to rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. First up on the show, Edie Vogel joins me to give her thoughts on Trump's announcement speech and some good news. Nancy Pelosi is fired. The Republican Party will take control of the House of Representatives. Will they do anything with that power? We'll talk about that. And then, have you got your Thanksgiving food yet? Well, the cost of stuffing has risen 69% this year. And before you say nice, just remember it's not nice to those who are struggling in this Biden economy. And at 7:30 this morning, Justin Trudeau to the mentally ill. Just kill yourself. Euthanasia in Canada will be extended to the mentally unwell. There's a joke here about liberals being mentally unwell, and I'd laugh if it weren't so terrible. We'll talk to Canadian Marie Oakes, whose family member sadly went through this program today. And at 8 a.m. this morning, Camellia Peterson joins me to discuss Republicans who voted to protect gay marriage in Congress. We'll also talk to her about the backlash to our Missouri Secretary of State's proposed restrictions on books in libraries with adult material. And then at 8:30 this morning, did you miss my debate with Judge Napolitano yesterday about Donald Trump? It got a lot of people talking online. We'll play it for you again before we finish the show to explain, and then after that, we will explain why you must never wash your Thanksgiving turkey. But now, first joining me in studio, introducing Edie Vogel. Edie, nice to see you today.
Well, sometimes, Austin, I feel like I'm a bull in a china cabinet sitting here in this chair and wires and headphones and, but it's okay.
Well, we're glad to have you here
I
today.
mean, my butt is in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be very good. I will if I, haven't got very far to fall out of the chair. So,
Well, Edie, I guess
yes.
First things first,
Yes.
order of business, we should ask you your take, because I know you're a huge Donald Trump fan.
Yes.
Your reaction to his announcement speech.
Well, I think it's something that, we were not anticipating.
You weren't?
No.
You didn't think he was going to do it?
Oh, yes. I knew he was going to do it, but I was only hoping that he was going to present to the fine citizenry of the United States, this our so-called file of cheating election.
You thought he was going to do it.
And I'm going to be on that. I'm going to be on that side until
dump.
they put me in my casket and put me in the ground, because I'm not going to fall for the mainstream media and all of the newscasters and all his detractors and those who actually really hate him to say that they think that harms him. But he was very good with his speech because he did not talk about it.
He seemed very
very relaxed.
Very relaxed. Some people said it was low energy.
Well, see, now, I think that's what we needed, because he laid it out in the first few minutes, what he had accomplished. And you cannot deny any of that. And if you do deny that, you are not on planet United States. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Even the libs have to give into that. Okay. They don't like to, but they can't deny that.
Wow, Edie, speak that truth, says Bert Crash over there.
So, I just feel like, it's a long way till.
It's a long way to
Tipperary. I don't know. And another theory that I picked up somewhere on my mad world of conspiracy was that if he, as a filed candidate for the office, they can't try to slap stuff on him. Now, okay,
Chief?
but somebody that I kind of still trust, and I like Mark Levin and I like Bill O'Reilly, and those two guys, I'm really depending on them to kind of keep
Donald
me.
Trump, if you can hear us, please, Donald Trump, please save me.
Keep
Please
us
save me,
on
Donald Trump.
keep us on the straight path to thinking that there's still. I just can't give up.
If the election were held today, Edie,
He'd probably get beat.
okay. Well, okay.
Well, no, I don't want to. I don't want to say that, but
that wasn't what I was going to ask.
Okay, but that's what the people believe. I don't believe that.
I think he probably would.
Well,
he lost last time.
He did not.
He did.
No.
Yes, he did. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show,
we'll wake everybody up out there.
Yes, we will.
It's going to be a long, bumpy ride.
Got his
Let's
ass
put it that
handed to him in a high hat. The Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson. We're talking to Edie Vogel.
You're going to get the bull riled up over here.
I know. We got a lot of Trump listeners who love Donald Trump who listen to the show this morning. My question was going to be, Edie, was that if the Republican primary were held today, and it were Donald Trump versus DeSantis, who would you vote for?
I'd still vote for Trump.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
All the Trump supporters right now. Why?
There's just a part of me that I just like him.
You think he deserves his revenge?
Well, I don't know if you want to call it revenge.
Montezuma's revenge.
They have tried so many times to destroy him, and he's still standing. There's nothing that's sticking to him. If all the stuff they've thrown at him would have ever come to fruition, or if that would have fruition, he wouldn't still be drawing the crowds that he does. Now, I will have to give you. They also discussed last night about the Electoral College.
Yes,
and how that plays a significant role in it.
Yeah,
in the whole process, and the states that he has to have are Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and there was another one. All the states where all the stuff is all screwed up with the vote, and Arizona. What in the? And I heard Alaska still haven't finished whatever they're doing up there.
Bert Crash has a question. It says, why did he lose, Austin? It's not like they didn't change the election laws only in the places that actually matter.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Republicans ran for those offices in the areas where those election laws
had changed, and they still got beat.
And they lost. But the thing is that if you don't like the law, you got to change the law.
Well, that's true.
We don't agree with the ballot harvesting, but there was this woman in California who was a Republican who won her seat because she actually went out and did the same thing the Democrats were doing. What she did was she went to the churches. The problem is that because Republicans don't trust
Republicans don't have any balls. A
lot of times that's the case.
They just sit around and think that it's all going to be grander, and it's not. Look how they operate. Look how the libs operate.
Do you want to share with us your thoughts on Nancy Pelosi? Ding dong, the witch is dead. Nancy Pelosi.
I'm very pleased because
she needs to go home and take care of her husband because he's a mess.
The two of them need to go to a nursing home too, and take Biden with them. And she ran such a terrible Congress in the House for God, how many years?
Ruled with an iron fist.
Well, I don't know if you want to call it that, but she's just a mean woman.
Yeah. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show with Austin Peterson, you can text the show today at 573-319-1586. I've got Jeffersonian local luminary, freedom fighter extraordinaire, Edie Vogel joining me right now. She's a good friend of the show, and we'd love to hear from you. If you want to send us a text, 573-319-1586. We got a meme this morning from somebody who has never texted us before from the 253 area code. Where's that from? They said, what are you doing to prepare for World War III? I'm stockpiling food. What about you? I'm stockpiling guns and ammo. Why aren't you stockpiling food? Because you're stockpiling my food. You better stockpile some guns and ammos. All right, well, we got to continue this conversation. Edie, when we get back, let's move on to the next topic, which is what? Republicans voted for the Defense of Marriage Act. gay marriage, the homos, they're demanding rights. How dare they? We'll talk about all that and more when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
It's morning again in America. Our country is prouder and stronger and better.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today.
Fire.
Your printing company stinks. They charge you too much money and they don't love America enough. We've got the solution. Patriot Printing USA. Whether you're running for office, saving souls, or just need business cards that will get you the new job you've been looking for, Patriot Printing USA has got you covered with the best prices around. Palm cards, brochures, bumper stickers, door hangers, you name it, we've got it. PatriotPrintingUSA.com. That's PatriotPrintingUSA.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
Average Americans are turning into conspiracy theorists at an unprecedented rate. Flip City Magazine was created for new converts to aid in their in-depth research along the path of absolute truth. We offer the hardest-hitting news and opinion delivered uncensored in print directly to your door. Display proudly on your coffee table or hide discreetly under your mattress. Flip City is the magazine they don't want you to see, much less read. Subscribe to Flip City Magazine today at flipcitymag.com.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Thankful to have you here. You can send us a text today at 573-319-1586. We'd love to hear from you today. Or you can join us over on the live stream chat. You can see it over here, right there. YouTube, Facebook, all sorts of different places we're streaming on this morning. And don't forget, I've also got a brand new radio talk show in the afternoons at 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. I am on a St. Louis network where I post the Austin Peterson Show. Post up at 2 p.m. Make sure to set an alarm on your phone so that you don't miss it. I know it's brand new and you say to yourself, Austin, that's a lot of AP. Yes, it is. 2 hours in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, and then feed me dinner. Take me home. Edie Vogel joining us here in studio. Hi, Edie.
Good morning.
Glad to have you here today.
Oh, it's always fun.
Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
You getting excited for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I over the last couple of years, I lucked out that I didn't have to have
You didn't have to do a big dinner or anything?
not up at my place. I always went to one of my nephews. So I got the message the other day that they're all going to pile up to my place this year.
Nice.
And that's okay.
Are you going to have to cook a turkey?
No, the brother-in-law will cook the turkey.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
so I probably will make some mashed potatoes and my nephews like my meatballs.
Beans,
I think
greens.
we discussed this once before when we were on the radio about meatballs. My meatballs.
It's a spicy meatball.
Yes, yeah. So
beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes. You ever heard that song?
well,
Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes.
Look! I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbits, you name it! Look!
That's
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rabbits, you name it! Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, beans.
Not this year, though, because we can't afford it.
We can't afford all of that, no.
The prices of our
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dinners are going up precipitously. Thanksgiving is driving people to cut back on their groceries shopping this year. We're looking at 14% more overall, at least according to the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
This year, due to the higher prices of turkey, flour, eggs, and other staples. Stuffing up 69%. So get stuffed. At 60
Stuffing, which is just bread.
Just bread, yeah, stuffing.
And if you make it homemade, you put the onions and I guess celery and
turkey prices have gone up. They say about 30% from a year ago. And they say that a lot of that has to do with the bird flu that has driven up the prices because the avian flu has gone around and
okay.
Yeah. And Stephanie was kind of worried that they wouldn't even have turkeys at the big box store around town, but they did.
Yeah.
So thankfully we got ourselves a turkey.
Right.
Dad's coming out. We got some pies. My mother-in-law's coming out and I'm excited to see her. I really love my mother-in-law.
What did O'Reilly said last night at the end of the show? Don't skip Thanksgiving because it's a little bit more expensive. And I had to laugh because he says, but you can cut out the booze. There's where you save the money, cutting out the booze.
No.
And I said, I don't think any, if I didn't, I tell my nephews they have to bring their own booze.
There you go.
If they want to drink something. But I think that's
you gotta get wild turkey instead of Jameson's.
That's right, and that's the
cheaper booze.
That's probably the part of the celebration everybody can tolerate because they all start having a few drinks and then they can loosen up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I like to do is that my alcohol strategy has always been drink the expensive good stuff up front,
right,
and then
go to the
cheap stuff. You know why?
Because you
can't taste it anyway.
You can't. Yeah, that's true.
You don't know what the hell you're drinking anyway.
No.
So you start with the craft beers and lagers and stuff like that, and then you move from that to
Boy, and
Busch.
And that's Busch Light.
Busch Light.
Or Coors Light. That's really, that market has changed so much from
the beer market.
From the beer market.
Oh, but isn't it nice? They deregulated the industry. That's what happened the craft beer market arose because in the late 80s they deregulated the beer market, and so now you've got all these new beer options. I mean, what are you drinking these days? Voodoo Ranger IPA, aren't you?
Yeah, but let's see. I like Tank 7 too.
Oh, Tank 7's good.
Now, if I want a girly beer, it's Stella.
Stella?
Just Stella Artois. Yeah,
Artois.
Yeah. I can drink a few more of those than that Voodoo or Tank 7. That stuff will put you on your rear end quickly.
You like the IPAs, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
like them for like a hot minute. On a hot day, if I got nothing else to drink, an IPA is okay, but like one or two of them. So like,
That's all you can
yeah, the heavier a beer is, the less of them you can drink. You
Well,
know.
it's not only that, but the alcohol content
Mhm.
is it's 9%.
Next year, oh, do you know what beer we're getting here in Missouri starting next year? Have you seen this? Have you heard this
Uh-uh.
news? Chris Morrill just reminded me over in the live stream. We're getting Yingling here in
Oh
Missouri.
yeah, I did see that
Have you ever
somewhere.
had a Yingling?
No, but I've heard. I see a lot of talk. Isn't that from up in?
From Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now the thing about Yingling is, and I don't want to build it up too much because it's not like the champagne of beers or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's not like you know. I love Chimay, which is like it's made from a well from monks in an abbey. You know, and it's like this rare beer, very expensive. But Yingling is kind of to me like it's a replacement for Bud Light.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
so like, you know, we know how people drink Bud Light. They go
Yes.
out, they buy a can, you know, they buy like 50 of them and they drink, you
Yeah.
know, they drink 30 beers in a sitting. Yingling is one of those beers like Bud Light where it costs about the same, but it tastes so much better than Bud Light. It tastes way better than Bud
Well,
Light.
that's interesting.
If you've never have you had a Yingling?
No, no.
What?
Well, I'm not I'm more of a gin person.
Oh, you know what is good gin? Is Kansas City has a good gin, a Pinckney. Have you ever had a Pinckney gin?
Yeah, that's from down in it's the distilleries
Yeah.
down in oh, what's the name of that town?
I'm not sure.
New Haven or down around Herman somewhere.
Yeah.
Pinckney Distillery. I have had their gin.
Yeah, and
Yes.
they make like a pink fizzy gin. It's like
Yes.
a cherry grenadine that goes
Uh-huh.
with it.
Right.
Fizzy pink
Yes.
cherry
Yes.
grenadine gin. It's like
Mm-hmm.
so good. It's so good. We're sitting right next to the bar. Maybe we should have a drink.
Well, there's
It's the holidays.
You
What
know,
do you think? Maybe during the commercial
come
break.
in here, and when we're not on the air, you peruse around
It's
and
the
look around
holiday
here. And
season.
I think this bar is well stocked up here.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's cut it out here, and we've got a couple minutes left before we talk about
Okay.
legally assisted suicide. But before
Well-
we do, go ahead. What were you
No,
gonna
I
say?
thought we were gonna talk about
The prices of food.
well, we've done that.
Butter and margarine's up 35%.
Yeah, a pound of butter is I think $6 for good land of lake butter.
35%.
Yeah, that's
Flour's up 29%. Cranberry sauce 23%. Potatoes up 22%. Canned corn 18%. Turkey's up 16%.
kind of wondering how many people might go out and try to find a place that a restaurant to eat,
Mhm.
which is kind of hard to do at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, well, there's the Chinese food places. But we've actually, you know what? The Dragon Kitchen here in town in Jeff is getting better.
listen,
It was kind of gross for a while, but
every
it's actually getting much better now.
like I said, all my nephews they're 40 or older, okay?
Uh-huh.
And when they can get together, which most of them can sometimes get here at Christmas time. Well, the
Yes.
furthest one's out in Maryland and Houston.
Mhm.
And that's been their tradition since they were little boys, that their mom and dad take them now and
Mhm.
all of to Dragon Kitchen.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like the Chinese buffet. One of our listeners texted in, our friend with the PA phone number, but with the Florida address, says Yingling puke. Coming from someone who grew up in PA, apparently oldest brewer in the U.S., so that's why it has a popularity. No, it's popular because it's friggin' delicious. So shut up. Andy Opperman says Edie Vogel's meatballs, chili sauce, and grape jelly.
That's right.
Still remember that from the radio.
Yes.
They are awesome.
Yes.
All right. So this was fun. And
Yeah.
it was light. Unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about a really serious subject now.
Okay.
So when we come back from the commercial break, we're going to talk to Marie Oakes. She's a Canadian, to talk about Canada's, their legally assisted suicide.
Bad news.
Yeah, bad news. Especially for people who are pro-life. Pro-life. All the way through life.
Womb to tomb.
Including people who have been convicted of crimes.
Yeah.
Talk about all that and more when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here. And we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Austin's wife. I want to thank you all for watching the Wake Up America show with Austin Peterson. This show has been a huge venture for our family, so we would love it if you could join us.
I believe in liberty, and I believe in Austin's ability to spread the ideas of liberty. Do you?
I want to ask you today to join Peterson's Patriots with a pledge of $17.76 a month. Help us to stay cancel-proof so we can spread the message of limited government across the country. I joined Peterson's Patriots myself, just in a little different way. Visit wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and make your pledge today.
Average Americans are turning into conspiracy theorists at an unprecedented rate. Flip City Magazine was created for new converts to aid in their in-depth research along the path of absolute truth. We offer the hardest-hitting news and opinion delivered uncensored in print directly to your door. Display proudly on your coffee table or hide discreetly under your mattress. Flip City is the magazine they don't want you to see, much less read. Subscribe to Flip City Magazine today at flipcitymag.com.
Speaker Pelosi's husband, Paul, made a big investment in chips just before Congress votes on a bill that would give $52 billion in subsidies and tax credits to the chip industry.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No.
And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back. Do not come. Do not come.
Have you ever received a royalty payment from a company that you later oversaw money going to that company?
You know, I don't know as a fact, but I doubt it.
Well, here's the thing is, why don't you let us know?
Good morning, Rise and Freedom at 7:34. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show with Austin Peterson at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Well, Canada, it's got free health care. Everybody tells us here in the United States, if you're on the left side of the spectrum, that it's a great place to live. You don't have to worry about paying your medical bills. Something happens to you, you can go to the doctor and it's all free. It sounds like paradise, like the United States, but better. Well, my next guest who's joining me right now has a bone to pick with the head of her government, Justin Trudeau. The extension of end-of-life care means, well, you can end your life. That will be extended. The MAID, Canada's Medical Assistance in Dying program, will begin allowing citizens to be considered eligible for state-sanctioned euthanasia. Joining me now is political commentator and someone who lived in Canada for a time, but is American, Marie Oakes. Good morning, Marie. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Hi, Austin. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, so obviously, this is the kind of thing that people who are, of our ideological ilk, people who believe in life, liberty, and property, are, I think, outraged by, and justifiably so, Marie. What's your response to the government of Canada doing something like this?
Well, with this program, it is the definition of a slippery slope. When this program first came into being, it was super hard to be eligible for. It was, for the terminally ill, people who were about to die. And they've ever since introducing this law, they had to even change the Constitution in order for this to be implemented into law, because there are some things about healthcare within the Constitution. This has just kept and kept and kept growing in eligibility. I even had, a distant relative who recently used this program, a pretty standard old lady. She had a fall one day. She was in the hospital. They found something wrong with her heart. The doctor offered her, this program. Within 2 days, she was dead. Her family begged her, please don't do it. Please don't do it. She had a good life. She was, in her early 80s. She was still autonomous. She was living in her own apartment. Accident happened. Boom, they find another problem. They don't want to deal with the problem. They basically tell you, hey, your outlook, to see a specialist X amount of months, maybe years, depends on your situation, depends on the specialist you needed to see. For so many Canadians, they know the reality of what this healthcare system is, the wait times that have become, 15 years ago, it wasn't the problems they're facing today. But a lot of Canadians are now choosing to basically have the government kill themselves for themselves instead of, honestly, I understand waiting these wait times and just suffering while you just wait and question, am I going to die anyway?
Pretty terrible stuff. If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show, I'm speaking to Marie Oakes. She's a political commentator. We're talking about Canada extending their end of life assistance, aka euthanasia, to people who are mentally unwell. Now, to my understanding, if you're mentally unwell, I mean, that's the definition of, needing protection, needing care, right? So if you're not able to make decisions for yourself, you're in, mental illness, in a sense, you're losing your autonomy. So, I mean, in theory, how could you even make a decision like that?
Well, they try to say there's like these safeguards up. Oh, you have to go through a physician. You have to voluntarily ask for it. But in reality, we're seeing reports after reports where it's not even the patient themselves is asking for it. It's actually being presented to them as an option by the doctors. And, you can see me here now. I am currently, even though the whole being like depressed and all this stuff, mental illness is not part of it. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I am currently eligible for this system if I so choose to be eligible for this policy, because I'm a type 1 diabetic. My illness is irreversible. That is currently the eligibility. You don't have to have a fatal illness anymore. Well, my illness is considered fatal. So me right now, I look fine. I could ask the state to kill me in 2 days time, 4 days time. It's the only service in Canada that you can get in that quickly of time, which is shocking. It's the only thing you can get in a timely manner is to ask to kill yourself, because the thing that's different about
hurry
the
up,
US,
get your butt back to America.
She is. She's back.
I'm in America.
She's back. She's here. She's here.
But when I moved to Canada, because I am a type 1 diabetic, I take my health seriously. I had to look into, how do I get an endocrinologist? How do I get a doctor? I was there for 6 years. I still never got a primary care doctor. After 3 years, I was able to get an endocrinologist, thankfully. But when I was there, I was doing research. The way in which this government sees its citizens is burdens. The word on the Health Canada website is, if you're a type 1 diabetic or you're someone with like a chronic illness, they label you a burden on the healthcare system. Maybe for other people, that's like shocking to use such negative language as to like someone who actually needs healthcare versus like people who don't really use the healthcare system. They're not considered burdens, but they're the ones filling up the, the emergency rooms because they're coughing. So, but the people who need it were burdens. And that is how they view the sick in Canada, is you are a burden on our healthcare system because you need to use it X amount of times. And we have only X amount of resources, and that is dwindling. And there's cases in BC with cancer treatments where they have I think it's 16 oncologists. So many are leaving the field because it's burnout. It's so horrible. I feel for these doctors. I also kind of don't like that they would leave a situation they know is so awful for the patients. But you're seeing perfectly fine people who are getting cancer, not being able to get treatment for 8 months at a time, where it's this is considered medically dangerous periods of time, and they're still not able to be seen even for first consultation by an oncologist. So they end up suffering. So they have to decide, is it worth the chance of suffering, or should I just, medically suicide myself with the government's okay on this? And this is changing the Overton window, in my opinion, of what is acceptable treatment for people, because now we're in this situation. Even after COVID, I've noticed that doctors, people in the medical offices, they kind of just want to not deal with you. If you ever call a doctor's office, it's almost impossible to get an appointment because no one answers the phone, or they make all these hurdles to do it. Even in the US, where the same thing is happening everywhere else, where they're trying to figure out ways to deal with you less and less and less. And I wouldn't be surprised that this could even come to the US at some point, if it's not already here. Maybe in some states it is.
Deeply troubling. If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking to Marie Oakes. She is a political commentator talking to us about Canada's assisted suicide program. You can text the show at 573-319-1586. You know what I'm deeply concerned about? And I certainly hope this isn't already the case, Marie, but from some of these programs in Europe that exist about minors, people who are under the age of 18, being granted access to these programs. That's not currently the case in Canada yet, is it?
No, it's not. But I even will venture to say, I'm not that old. I'm 25. I remember what it was like to be 18, especially having a chronic illness. That was a time when my illness wasn't doing well. I was young. I wasn't managing my diabetes like I should have. And there were times I was like, I can't live like this. There's no way I could live like this. But at the time, that was not an option. It was a new rollout when I was in Canada. It was but I did have thoughts of, I don't want to live the rest of my life like that. So when you're 18, even for these 18-year-olds, especially if you have a mental health problem, I can't imagine this is acceptable even over the age of 18. People say you're an adult. I'm sorry, your mind is, you're still not there. It takes till you're 23, 24 to really kind of have a grasp of who you are. Some people will be different. I know there's outliers, but generally speaking, I think 18 is very crazy to be making these sort of decisions of literally not living anymore. I think with suicide, you should make it as hard as possible. Someone has, you can't ask the government to do it for you. It makes it way too easy. If you really don't want to live, I've had friends who have committed suicide. It's not pretty. It's not easy. It's hard. And I think that's kind of the way we should go about this, because we don't want people just offing themselves because maybe they're not in the right mental health space for a few years. I'm sorry, when you're 18, you're kind of still, when you're young, you just don't really understand who you are. In general, you are more susceptible of not seeing why life is valuable.
This is really good stuff. We're speaking to Marie Oakes about Canada's euthanasia program. I wanted to switch just a little bit to a related topic. You sent me a thread this morning from an Andrea Wu, who was telling a story about an otherwise healthy man in his early 40s who was diagnosed with metastatic pancreatic cancer, waited 8 weeks for a first consult, and died 3 days later. So, well, I mean, if he had gotten in, at least it would have been free, Marie. But this is kind of an example of what we're talking about here, about how the healthcare system, it might be free, but if you can't see a doctor, it doesn't matter, does it?
No, it absolutely does not. Personally, I'm still on a wait list, even though I'm not in Canada, because once you're on a wait list, you can't even take yourself off to make room for someone else technically. So that's just how it is once you're on a wait list, you don't know how long you're going to be on it. It's not digitized. You don't know what space you're in. You don't even know if your referral has been lost. So you're just in a waiting game, hoping that you'll receive a letter in the mail that says, your doctor is this, your appointment date is this. You barely even have like decision over your appointment date because you will just take whatever you can get. And I'm coming from Quebec. That's where I was living. So it's a much different situation. Every province is a bit different. Quebec's kind of one of the worst. So I was in the worst of the worst. I saw the worst of the worst this system can produce. Once I went to the emergency room, I was there for 26 hours. And then I had to come back again because they were like, you're not going to be seen. Like, come back tomorrow. You're still in line. And that was like a big wake up call for me. When I would talk to people about this, they would tell me I'm lying. And I would tell like my friends in America and they'd be like, oh, I have a family member in Ontario, or oh, I have a family member in Alberta. It's not the same situation there. It's like, yes, the healthcare system is different everywhere you go, every hospital. So depending where you are, but right now, overall situation in Canada, every politician in Canada is finally talking about it, but like, it's your guys' fault because you guys run it. They're all saying, the healthcare system's falling. It's falling. COVID like really destroyed people's confidence in the Canadian healthcare system because the veil was lifted.
Marie Oakes, you can follow her online. Marie, where can people follow you online to learn more about your work as a political commentator?
You can find me basically everywhere at The Marie Oakes at, basically Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm everywhere right now. I even have a Telegram. That's a really good place as well. So just like look me up.
And you can see how her name is spelled right underneath her lovely picture there on the live stream this morning. Marie, thank you very much for your time today. We're very grateful for you. That was a great report.
Thank you for having me on. Bye, Austin.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you like Marie Oakes? Send us a text, 573-319-1586. Boy, very disturbing.
That's
scary stuff.
Yeah.
Coming up next at 7:51, marijuana is bad for you. Well, probably. Smoking anything's probably bad for you. But now we've got a little bit of research. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I enlisted as a medic to be there to help my patients, and after an injury, I found myself as a patient. I experienced post-traumatic seizures. Depression is a big one that comes along with it, PTSD. So I pursued my PhD in neuroscience and regenerative medicine. The coalition has helped fund my academic pursuits. They genuinely care about helping the vet in whatever way that they can. Through supporting the coalition, you're supporting some of the veterans that have the biggest needs.
Visit SaluteHeroes.org to learn more.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun. Thank you.
Had enough yet? Do facts no longer matter? Are lies to be encouraged instead of punished? This is not our inheritance. If truth no longer matters, we will not remain free for long. This is our generation's challenge, to defend our founders' hope that we the people could self-govern if we defend our right to get the facts. And right now, we're building the only defense of free people have, the facts on every politician, every position they held, every statement they've made, every vote they've made, and any cash they've taken. It's the real history on those now pandering for your vote. There are hundreds of young people building our defense right now, and they need your help. We all have our passions, but as our ancestors knew, when events become so foul they threaten us all, we must stand and defend each other. Please, have our backs. Join us at votesmart.org.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
We wish you a freedom Christmas. We wish you a freedom Christmas. We wish you a freedom Christmas and a liberty New Year. Socialists and commies may try to convince you that the holiday's all about free stuff. But let's be honest, we all know whose wallet Santa's gifts are coming out of. There ain't no such thing as a free stocking. Santa is the only guy with a big white beard promising free stuff that we want anything to do with this holiday. And if you don't believe, you don't receive. It's a capitalist, consumerist holiday, and it's time for a Santa-sized stimulus. Get your free market merch at the AP for Liberty shop today and stuff your socialist sisters' stockings full of capitalist cheer. Ho, 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 ho! Good morning, Rise and Freedom. It's 7:52. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Did you like that interview with Marie Oakes that we just had on there? I thought she was pretty darn good, didn't you?
Well, it's actually pretty scary to think that that's going on.
And I agree with her about the whole slippery slope thing because,
Yeah, I mean,
you know, they roll it out for people. It's very, very limited. And then they broaden it and they broaden it and they broaden it. And all of a sudden, you know, I believe, and, you know, I think Mary Kramer was looking this up for me over on the live stream, that in some places in Europe, they are pushing it on kids now, young people. So if you've got a mental illness, like how many of these young kids are now, you know, I don't know, you're not on TikTok or anything like that, but it's like fashionable now.
to be
They call it neurodivergent.
you know, in other words, to think about even doing away with yourself. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yes, but it's fashionable now to have a mental illness
Oh,
and
okay.
so you get young people
Okay.
faking mental illnesses.
Well, now that
Right, because it's all part of this whole victim
yeah,
Olympics,
I
right?
mean, it's
They want to be the bigger victim,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
People, it's like when you're transgender in class, right? You get more attention,
Attention, that's
and
right.
and
Yep.
you're you're
Yeah.
popular, and everybody, you know, it's the latest, greatest, newest
Okay.
thing.
Wow.
So like having a mental illness, right? So imagine how, you know, what young person is going to be out there that's going to become a victim of their government because they're going to fake a mental illness and then be like, oh, I guess I am depressed. Oh, I guess I will take advantage of this euthanasia program.
Man,
It's dangerous
it's
stuff.
just something, you know.
This is why, again, like, and you know, I know people are going to be like, well, it's not the same. Another reason why I don't even believe in the death penalty, right? I really don't think, you know, other than war, you know, and national defense, I don't think that the government should have the power to kill. I think we should strip from the government the power to kill at every levels. I don't
Mhm.
believe in abortion. And, you know, like a lot of Catholics, I don't believe in the death penalty, but, you know, minus the Catholic thing, that's where I'm at, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, you've always that's always fascinated me that that being kind of a non-religious, no offense,
Mhm.
but that you do believe in the sanctity of life,
Mhm.
and that's a unique.
A
That's
unique
just
thing
kind
among
of
us
yeah,
non-believers.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I feel very comfortable in my skin, in my philosophical
and that's I'm not
underpinnings.
criticizing that,
No,
but
no, I know.
you are an odd man out
Yes.
to believe about the sanctity of life, yet not the other part of a higher.
Not the higher power
Yeah,
part.
you know.
It was
So
when I was in Springfield, I was giving a speech at my old college a couple weeks ago. And there's a lot of Christians who came out to see my speech, and they were asking me the main question that I usually get from believers is, you know, if there is no higher power, then, where do our rights come from? That's kind of like the most common question that I get. But one of the things what I usually like to quote for them is, there's a line from the Declaration that says, we hold these truths to be self-evident.
That all men are created equal.
Right. And so the idea
Yeah.
is that there are these things in the world that are self-evident.
Mhm.
These truths, every man has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So it doesn't require, in my mind, it doesn't require a belief in the supernatural.
Yeah.
You get that?
I get that.
Yeah. But it does
different.
It does make me a weirdo.
Oh, what? Well,
Well, if you think
in
about
our
it,
own sense, aren't we all weirdos
well,
to
I'm kind of like
other people that hang around us or something?
right, right. Well, if there's a modern American if you could say certain people are modern revolutionists, who would I identify with the most? Like, Thomas Paine, right, was a non-believer or a skeptic at the time in the late 1700s. He wrote Common Sense, and he was not a Christian. He said that the world is my church and to do good is my religion.
And there is a lot of people that quote Thomas Paine.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm no scholar.
You're
but
not up to speed on your 1700,
No.
like late, early
No.
late 18th
but
century.
I think one of the deals about get back to Trump in his speech. One of my I forget which one. It was O'Reilly. Compared it to Washington's last stance on around Christmas when they were crossing the,
Washington's last prayer, his prayer before he crossed the Delaware.
Yeah, and then to tell the soldiers that were left, the fighting, that this,
Have you ever been to Mount Vernon?
Yes.
It's awesome, isn't
Yes,
it?
but that's been a long time ago. It was like
you might not have seen it since they did some revamping.
I haven't been there since
They have this awesome
high school trip. Yeah,
they have. Oh well, they probably you probably haven't been there since they put this new theater in.
No,
I went there a couple months ago with Steffi,
Yes.
and they have this new theater where when Washington crosses the Delaware, it snows in the theater.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah, because it's Christmas when
Yeah,
they
that's
go and
right,
they kill
that's
the
right,
Hessians.
yeah.
It's a great exhibit. If you have you gotta
ever
go
get back
and
out
check
there.
it out. Yeah, if you ever get out to Virginia again.
And it hasn't been that long ago that I was in Monticello too. That's a neat one to go
Monticello.
to.
See,
Monticello,
Stephanie is
yes.
going to kill me if I don't take her to Monticello
You,
soon.
you need to do that.
Because she's like I'm her husband, but Thomas Jefferson is Stephanie's boyfriend.
Okay, well, that's and I mean that's probably going on 20 years I've been there. But the Mount Vernon was high school trip.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well,
but
it might have been a little bit.
Yeah,
a little while ago.
That's a long time ago. But everybody who ever gets an opportunity, you need to see those places.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
And they've preserved them well. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We got to go to break.
Okay.
We got Camellia Peterson coming in. She's
Good.
going to talk to us about
the Senate.
Yes,
Yeah.
the homosexuals.
Yes,
they're
yeah.
taking over everything.
Well,
Look what the homosexuals have done to me. We'll be back with more. We've got a lot of people watching this morning. 43 people. Don't leave during the commercial break. I need this time to get Camellia into the show and to get everything ready.
Yeah, go get a cup of coffee.
Get a cup of coffee and
donut. Come back.
Yeah, stick around. All right, we'll be back with more. The Wake Up America Show at wakeupamerica.show.com.
Hello, my name is Kelvin. Welcome to Frenchy Bush. This is my Diddy's website. Now I've decided to speak to you with my real voice for the first time ever to tell you about how cool Frenchy Bush is. But I've decided that this is the perfect opportunity to share with you. Frenchy Bush is a good website. You should follow us on socials. If you like Frenchies or any kind of bulldogs, me and my new brother George are going to try to make your life more fun.
Hello, I'm George. My neck isn't really thick yet, but it will be. We are so glad you're here. Please ignore my floating eyeball. It helps me spot predators who might be approaching from the sides.
Didi made Frenchy bullshit to review things that he uses on me and my brother to tell you if it's good or bullshit. Take this collar, for example. Didi really likes it. Didi said it's really handy because us Frenchies got thick necks. Need something really tough. People think Frenchies are little, but if you look at us from below, you can see we are really pretty buff. Beefcake. Yes. Look at my creamy thighs and chest. Yes. You like that?
Big brother, please focus.
Frenchy Bullshit. Please follow us for more great content and read the Frenchy Bullshit blog for more fun and cool stuff.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every $1 we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
Any real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Make no mistake, reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
In order to save a native fish species in Montana's Glacier National Park, Park Service officials want to use rat poison to kill off a non-native species that Park Service officials put in the lake 100 years ago. In the early 1900s, government Park Service officials artificially stocked Gunsight Lake with rainbow trout to improve recreational fishing opportunities. Since then, the rainbow trout's population has increased, and through hybridization now threatens the existence of a different species of trout native to surrounding waterways. Rat poison that government officials want to use has been banned since 2005, is toxic to animals and humans, and has been linked to Parkinson's disease. This poison is a naturally derived compound and breaks down when exposed to sunlight, and officials can use other neutralizing agents downstream to limit contamination. The National Park Service has similar plans for waterways in the Grand Canyon as well. The federal government has confirmed a nationwide shortage of Adderall, months after nearly 2/3 of community pharmacies reported that they were having trouble filling prescriptions. And despite this shortage, the federal government also indicates that it will not raise the drug's production quota for next year. In case you didn't already know, Adderall is a federally controlled substance because of its potential for abuse, and patients in most states can only pick up 1 month's supply at a time, and generally can only do so a few days before their previous prescription runs out. In response to the current shortage, the Food and Drug Administration has recommended that patients speak with their providers about finding alternative methods for treatment. The Drug Enforcement Agency, more commonly referred to as the DEA, every year sets up a production quota for Adderall to establish the quantities made for medical, scientific, and industrial use. Prescriptions for Adderall last year were up 10.4% compared to 2020. Between then and now, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, officials had relaxed federal rules that had required traditional in-person examinations before before the prescription of addictive drugs like Adderall and Xanax. And in response to these rule changes, there was a boom in telehealth startup apps that were designed to streamline this relationship between remote providers and their patients. One of these popular telehealth apps, known as Cerebral Inc., is now under federal investigation for deceptive and unfair advertising and marketing practices after the Federal Trade Commission announced that it was stepping up enforcement against companies that, quote, trick or trap consumers into subscription services.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. It's 8:06. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show with Austin Peterson at wakeupAmericaShow.com. It's been an awesome show so far. We got a whole lot of people, like 40 people watching us over on YouTube.
Oh, jeez.
A bunch of people watching us over on Twitter and different places. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Wake Up America Show. If you chat on the live stream, it pops up over there on the live chat. If you want to send us a text, though, you can. 573-319-1586. So if you want something that I can respond to, I can't always see the chat, but I can get your text messages. So again, that number, 573-319-1586. Edie Vogel still joining me here in studio this morning. Edie, nice to see you, looking lovely.
Well, thank you.
Yes, you act so shocked and surprised. Yes, well, now joining us, another lovely lady on camera, Camellia Peterson this morning. Hi, CJ, how are you doing today?
Good morning. Doing well, thank you.
Good. Glad
Hey,
to have
girl.
you here. Yeah, it's been nothing but beautiful ladies on my show today.
Oh, man,
It's nice
alive.
to see.
Oh,
It's the only way
Isn't he full of it today?
It's the only way I can get my views up. All right, lovely ladies talking about a difficult topic: the homosexuals. They're taking over everything. They've got bipartisan consensus in the Senate. Edie, are you afraid of are you afraid of the homos?
First of all, I do not understand what they're trying to. They can be married. What is the big? What's going on? Tell me.
What you know? What, Camellia?
Yeah, somebody
tell us what's going on.
You know, in Cliff Notes, try to explain it.
So the what is it? The Respect for Marriage Act. I was trying to remember if it's Respect for Marriage Act or Defense of Marriage Act.
Put some respect on the homosexuals' names.
Well, but I don't.
You have to respect. It's illegal. It's going to be a law that you have to respect the homos.
Oh, so we are recognizing by the Supreme Court rule of two different cases that the fine folks can be married or whatever they want to.
Bum.
Okay, all right. So now what are they hankering about?
Camellia, what are they hankering about?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So earlier this year, the House passed this bill. It's the Respect for Marriage Act, Defense of Marriage Act. I'm having trouble remembering which one now, but either way, same thing.
Well, it's just
and essentially, it has come to the Senate, and the Senate basically took a procedural vote to move it forward to a full vote, and it will pass. And it really doesn't. It's really more symbolic than anything else. It doesn't change anything in terms of rights. I mean, those rights have already been established, by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So it essentially does that. It first popped up on my radar. I didn't realize it was even still in process until yesterday when I started seeing people freaking out a little bit on Twitter about it. And so the first thing I saw actually was from Mike Lee, and he had posted his statement about it and said that he voted against the motion to proceed to the Respect for Marriage Act because the religious liberty protections were severely anemic and largely illusory. He said he respects the efforts and the emotions around the issue, but it doesn't, codify Obergefell, as the proponents claim. And he's right in that sense, but it does, kind of give people peace of mind in confirming it, so to speak. But he is saying, and there was an amendment added that addressed the religious liberty issues in there, but he is saying it's not good enough, and that if they had accepted his amendment, that it would have shored up those vulnerabilities. And so I saw that and I was like, what's going on? So really the first person that I thought of when this came up was our friend Brad Palumbo. And so I tagged him on Twitter and I was like, Brad, I was like, your thoughts on this? Because Brad is really fair-minded. He is gay and he is in a gay relationship. I don't know if they're married, but he's very fair-minded on things. He's very conservative also. And so I knew that he would have a good take on this. And he said, that's nonsense. And he's actually written an article in Newsweek about it. And he admits that, it's not, this is just, it's symbolic. It just basically confirms things for people. But he said, the amendment in there does protect religious liberties. It ensures that nonprofit religious organizations won't be forced to provide any services, facilities, or goods for the celebration or solemnization of marriage. And that the eligibility of nonprofits for tax exempt status would not be affected by this legislation. And, you can't know everything about every single issue. So I find people that I know to be intellectually honest and balanced. And, I find people that I trust to do that. And Brad is one of those people. And so when he says this, he's also got a stake in this issue. And I believe that. But people are freaking out about it on the right. Just all over the place saying that, people are going to go after churches and nonprofits and makes much ado over nothing.
Over this bill, it's remains to be seen, because you know how the left can be, Camellia. So in terms
Sure.
of like, you and I might agree with Brad Palumbo, and we might be socially tolerant. I will use the word. I don't like to say liberal because it triggers our conservative friends. But they have every right to be afraid and to feel triggered because of the way that the intolerant left acts. Right? They do go after their churches. They do go after their places of business. They do try and force them to bake the cake. They don't believe in religious liberty, the way that you and I do, right? So, I can understand, why people who are, like Edie and others, do worry about this. But here's the thing. A lot of conservative Missouri Republicans got together and wrote a piece in defense of this as well.
Yes. Yeah. Just the other day, Representative Phil Cristofanelli had an op-ed in the Missouri Times, and that not only Phil Cristofanelli, but it was also along with Bruce DeGroot, Adam Schwadron, our own Tony Lavasco, Chris Sanders, Dogan, Lincoln Huff. Really, this is both senators and representatives, and kind of across even the Republican political spectrum on this. And so, and Phil was saying basically the same thing that Brad was saying, is that this doesn't, necessarily do anything big, but it basically gives people peace of mind and confirms, the Supreme Court decision, and that it's time to, just let people be.
Right, leave people alone. But
So
isn't that what really, like, the heart of this matter, like why this is kind of coming up now? Because the fear was, after Roe versus Wade was overturned, people like Ted Cruz and other social conservatives were saying that the Supreme Court case Obergefell was wrongly decided, and that there was a fear that conservatives were going to start pushing to overturn the marriage laws in these many states.
yeah, and there's, a lot of that court case and a lot of the arguments around that I don't have a really good grasp on as an understanding of fully. So, but the thing is, one of the things that was mentioned that this does is that it kind of ensures that states can't then go and kind of do their own thing to, in opposition to what's already been established. So
And it
this is
includes interracial marriage as well.
right.
Right. So
Right.
because that was one of I think probably the crux of it was that it wasn't just about gay marriage. It was also about ensuring that states wouldn't go back and try and overturn interracial marriage as well. Which, what are you worried about unless you live in like Mississippi or Alabama or Louisiana or something like that? But the fact is that there was a time in this country when that was illegal.
Right. And I would just like to take this time to point out that these are the issues that you're going to have to deal with when you let the government into your bedroom. If the government wasn't into relationships and marriage in the first place, we wouldn't even be having to have this conversation.
No, you're right. You're right. But unfortunately, the thing is that we have to kind of go back and correct these past wrongs. I think sometimes the problem with, especially libertarians, but with conservatives many times, is that there was this belief that somehow America was freer, like earlier on in our history. But I mean, only if you were a white male landowner, right? You really didn't have the kinds of freedoms. If you were anything but a white male landowner, you didn't have freedoms here in the United
Yeah,
States.
we have come a long way, baby. There's,
Yeah, we have. We've come a long way, baby. But here's another. Edie, did you want to weigh in on this? Because you are the social conservative in the room here.
Just sitting here, and my mind is running away, thinking, is this take press? Does this take?
Is it? Why now?
What in the world?
Do we have other priorities? Is what?
Well, I think so. When you're talking about our economic situation, our recession situation, our food prices.
I agree with you.
I mean, I thought that once the Supreme Court said that marriage between two sexes is okay, the same sexes is okay, that we could put all this, pardon the pun, put it to bed.
Well, yeah.
And put it in your bedroom and leave it there and leave all of us other people out of the quagmire of you all thinking that you're, and I'm talking about the government entity. I'm talking about
a heterosexual marriage.
And I'm not a lesbian. Okay. So I'm just telling you, I don't understand that they want to make this such a priority.
Well,
in the situation.
I'm not yelling at you, but I'm yelling. I'm going to yell. It wouldn't be a priority if after the Roe versus Wade, the first thing that that the social conservatives came out and said was like, oh, now we got to realize that we got to go after gay marriage. But they did. That was the immediate reaction. I started reading Ted Cruz and others are like, well, Obergefell wasn't properly decided. And it's well, if you could just shut up, like just shut up about it. Like if you want to have that opinion, that's fine. But when you go out there and you're like, oh, we're going to go out, we're going to take your rights away. Well, then you're going to get your ass kicked by people who are going to be like, no, we're going to go out and protect ourselves before you do something.
But it's the same thing with the Supreme Court ruling on abortion. They did not null and do away with abortion. You can still get an abortion. They just said, well, let's take it over to the, let the states kind of. I just see. I'm just.
Camellia, we're going to have to talk about the library thing tomorrow. You're going to be with us in studio, right?
Sorry.
I will be in Jefferson City in the morning. I will be there. I will bring your Yangling and
I got your seat all warmed up.
We'll be back with more Camellia Peterson. Camellia, thanks so much for joining us on the show today. We appreciate you very much.
Have a great Thursday, everyone.
Yeah.
You too.
Coming up next, Meghan Markle. You know who that is, Edie?
Yeah, she's a movie star.
Is she in movies?
Meghan Markle.
Oh no, she was the one who was the bimbo from. I
thought she's married to what's his name, Harry.
Yeah, she was the bimbo on the what was that game show?
I never watched any of that stuff. But
Meghan game shows?
No, Meghan Markle is the Harry's wife.
Yes.
Harry's wife. Harry's husband. You started this.
We'll be back.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here. And we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Austin's wife. I want to thank you all for watching the Wake Up America show with Austin Peterson. This show has been a huge venture for our family, so we would love it if you could join us.
I believe in liberty, and I believe in Austin's ability to spread the ideas of liberty. Do you?
I want to ask ask you today to join Peterson's Patriots with a pledge of $17.76 a month. Help us to stay cancel-proof so we can spread the message of limited government across the country. I joined Peterson's Patriots myself, just in a little different way. Visit wakeupamericashow.com/support and make your pledge today.
Average Americans are turning into conspiracy theorists at an unprecedented rate. Flip City Magazine was created for new converts to aid in their in-depth research along the path of absolute truth. We offer the hardest-hitting news and opinion delivered uncensored in print directly to your door. Display proudly on your coffee table or hide discreetly under your mattress. Flip City is the magazine they don't want you to see, much less read. Subscribe to Flip City Magazine today at flipcitymag.com.
Speaker Pelosi's husband Paul made a big investment in chips just before Congress votes on a bill that would give $52 billion in subsidies and tax credits to the chip industry.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No.
And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back. Do not come. Do not come.
Have you ever received a royalty payment from a company that you later oversaw money going to that company?
You know, I don't know as a fact, but I doubt it.
Well, here's the thing is, why don't you let us know?
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. It's 8:23. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show with Austin Peterson at wakeupamericashow.com. Still got a lot of people watching over the live stream. Thanks so much for sticking around during the commercial breaks. I sincerely appreciate that. Those commercials give me a little break to breathe, get some guests in, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And for Edie Vogel and I to curse, swear like sailors and drink like fish. Edie, I appreciate it. We've got a good show today. We've got a really good show.
I mean, we're just trying to straighten it out.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And you're going to be on my radio show in St. Louis today as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, Edie is going to join me today at 2 p.m. on the new show, which is an afternoon show, 2 p.m. on the Real Talk Radio Network in St. Louis. Now, if you don't live in the St. Louis area, you can still listen to the Real Talk Network. You can go to the website and stream it. It's really easy, Real Talk 93.3. But also, there's an app.
Okay.
On your iPhone or Android device, Real Talk.
Okay.
And you just download the app and you can listen in.
All right.
You can be able to hear yourself today at 2 p.m.
Oh, God, that just really...
So Edie will be joining me again today at 2 p.m. Make sure you set an alarm on your phone so that you don't forget, so you can tune in on the app. All right? All right, cool. All right, thank you. Congrats on the new show, says Brendan Meyer. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you so much. We appreciate you very much. And we love seeing all 40 people watching us this morning over on YouTube. We got a good crowd today, and we're thankful to have you here. Meghan Markle, she's the deal or no deal, or let's make a deal.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Is it deal or no deal, or let's make a deal? It's something to do with like when she was complaining about how she felt like she was like getting treated like a bimbo because she was just a presenter. She just basically opened up suitcases, right?
Right.
So it was like, make a deal. What's it got in the suitcase?
Well, that must have been in her early career, right?
Yeah.
Because then didn't she go to some kind of a TV series of something that was based
Suits.
Suits.
Yes, which
I mean, I
apparently
never watched
Camellia
any
was
of
a
that
fan.
stuff,
I
you
don't
know,
watch
but
that crap.
no,
That's
me
girl
either.
TV.
Yeah.
No, I watched All Quiet on the Western Front the other day. I tell you what, though, that was good. They did a remake of All Quiet on the Western Front.
That's a movie, right?
Yes, based on the book. You probably saw the old Kurt Russell black and white film back in the day. The World War One movie, All Quiet on the Western
I
Front.
might have. There was
Probably
maybe
did.
one even before that one though, with old time actors like Burt
1930s.
Lancaster or
Maybe.
somebody. I'm just
Maybe.
saying that. No,
Yeah.
those generation of actors.
Yeah, probably.
All Quiet on the Western
Black and
Front.
white one.
So it's a war movie.
It's a war movie.
Okay.
Yeah, World War One. And they did a modern telling of it on the on Netflix, which you can watch. They say that it's better to watch it in its German because it's in German, and then to have the captions underneath. We watched it with the English
Subtitles. Yeah.
We watched it with the English dub. So, but maybe it's better that way. I don't know. But anyways, so All Quiet on the Western Front, highly recommend on Netflix. I don't watch things like Deal or No Deal, although I do watch like some pop culture stuff with my wife on YouTube. Anyways, Meghan Markle. So she's in trouble for faking a British accent. We're going to listen to yeah, she did it on her podcast, and I don't have that clip, but apparently she does this pretty often. Let's head over to our Twitter weirdness scene and take a listen. This is Meghan Markle talking to a crowd about this was from a couple of years ago, but you can kind of hear. Take a listen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hi, it's nice to meet you. What's your name? My name's Aya. Aya? I've been a fan of you for so long. What's that? I watched you for so long. Oh, did you? Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, did you?
And you look gorgeous on the wedding day. Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you to say. What's your name? Sarah. Sarah, that's nice to meet you.
She's like, apparently this is kind of a thing that she does.
Okay, I finally, she's the one saying, "Oh, thank you." Okay, it took me a while to figure out which one was which.
Yeah, so Meghan Markle. Yeah,
okay.
So hear her talking. Hold on, let me back it up a little bit. You can hear her. You can hear her.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, but she is phony.
Thank you.
She's trying to phony accent.
Yeah.
Hi, it's nice to meet you. My name's Aya. Aya? I've been a fan of you for so long. What's that? I watched you for so long. How did you? Yeah.
How did you? What's that?
Is she talking to a British group?
Yeah, so she's in London there.
Okay,
She's taking pictures.
So that's way before she met Harry, probably.
No, this is her with Harry. So
and she's phony baloney like that with Jackie, wasn't it? Like,
yes,
no wonder I don't like her.
Baloney.
I'm surprised their marriage has lasted this long.
I think it's like, she's got him.
I think so. I think so too. You know, and that's kind of sad because, it just.
Can you do a British accent?
Hell no.
Come on, hell no. She said in her very American accent. Have you ever tried?
No, I can't. I can't do that. I can't fake.
It's rather dull in town, I think. I'll pack me to Paris.
Well, you're an actor, though. You're good at that. You gotta have that knack. I don't have that. I can't barely speak the English language. What are you talking about?
Wouldn't it be lovely?
Oh, that's Dr.
Come on, that's My Fair Lady.
My Fair Lady.
Lots of chocolate for me to eat. Lots of coal making lots of meat.
Was it Audrey Hepburn?
Yes.
She was just great.
Warm face, warm hands, warm feet, oh, wouldn't it be lovely?
Why can't they make shows like that anymore?
I know. That show, I loved My Fair Lady. I love old school musicals like that, but people just don't like them anymore. But when they do make musicals, it's always just some woke crap,
Yeah, but I think you still can't give up on the old tours of I think Les Mis is touring again.
Yeah.
Les Miserables. I think I've seen, however you say it.
Les Miserables.
I've seen that play.
Les Miserables.
I've seen that a lot.
Très bien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Phantom of the Opera.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Now you can at least say hello, governor. Try that.
Hello, governor. See, I can't do it.
Try it again. Hello.
Hello.
Governor.
Governor.
There you go. Try it now. Put it together. Hello, governor.
Hello, governor. Shut up.
Hello, governor. One more time, Edie. One more time. Hello.
Hello.
Governor.
Governor.
Ner.
Governor.
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 Hello.
Hello.
Governor.
Governor.
Hello, governor.
Uh-huh.
Try it again.
Hello, Governor. Leave me alone.
All right, we're going to go to commercial break. When we get back, you're going to hear
Lord.
from Judge Andrew Napolitano. He and I debate the merits
I want to hear that. Okay.
Donald
Okay.
Trump when we get back.
Yeah.
Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Hello, Governor.
Yeah.
Crikey. That's Australia.
Hello, my name is Kelvin. Welcome to Frenchy Bush. This is my Didi's website. Now I've decided to speak to you with my real voice for the first time ever to tell you about how cool Frenchy Bush is. But I've decided that this is the perfect opportunity to share with you. Frenchy Bush is a good website. You should follow us on socials. If you like Frenchies or any kind of bulldogs, me and my new brother George are going to try to make your life more fun.
Hello, I'm George. My neck isn't really thick yet, but it will be. We are so glad you're here. Please ignore my floating eyeball. It helps me spot predators who might be approaching from the sides.
Didi made Frenchy bullshit to review things that he uses on me and my brother to tell you if it's good or bullshit. Take this collar, for example. Didi really likes it. Didi said it's really handy because us Frenchies got thick necks. Need something really tough. People think Frenchies are little, but if you look at us from below, you can see we are really pretty buff. Beefcake. Yes. Look at my creamy thighs and chest. Yes. You like that?
Big brother, please focus.
Frenchy Bush. Please follow us for more great content and read the Frenchy Bush blog for more fun and cool stuff.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Judge and person many times in Trump Tower. He's a man who's asked for your advice when it comes to Supreme Court picks. With libertarians, there are many negatives, but there are also many positives. It's difficult to know whether or not Donald Trump running is a net good thing, with his views on taxes and regulations, or a bad thing, his views on trade and economics. So I guess I should ask you, Judge, as somebody who knows him better than most, what's your impression of his announcement last night?
I wish he weren't running, Austin. If he is the Republican nominee in 2024 against President Biden seeking re-election, I believe that the issue in most people's minds will be Trump, his character, his potential criminal liability, and his personality, and not what did Joe Biden do as the president of the United States in the last 4 years. I think this would be a dream for the Democrats. I register as a Republican and I vote in the Republican primary often because I have friends who are running in Republican primaries in New Jersey. But I haven't voted for a Republican for president since Ronald Reagan in 1984. I voted for the Libertarian because of my view that the Republican Party is just another big government party. Trump is the opposite of a libertarian. And I say this as someone who's known him well for 35 years and whom, as you say, he called many times. He interviewed me twice for the Supreme Court of the United States, and then sought my views on the others whom he eventually nominated. He's an authoritarian. I mean, that's the opposite of a libertarian. But for Republicans, this couldn't come at a worse time. It will exacerbate the divide amongst them caused by their dismal showing in the midterms. It will juice up the Democratic turnout in the runoff in Georgia between Senator Warnock and Herschel Walker, President Trump's handpicked candidate to oppose him. I think this is a narcissistic endeavor that he should have held back on for at least a year to see how events go. But he's been advised that the DOJ will have a more difficult time indicting him if he's running against the incumbent president of the United States. I think that view is hogwash, but I know lawyers that are advancing that argument to him. And he likes to be the center of attention, which what he did last night will help him to do.
If you're just tuning in, I'm speaking to Judge Andrew Napolitano, who is definitely not holding back this morning on Donald Trump. Now, if I could push back with you on just a moment, Judge, and the views of him as an authoritarian, from a rhetoric perspective, I think that you can't be argued with there. But I could argue with you when it comes to the question of him being an authoritarian and in nominating the most libertarian Supreme Court justice, perhaps in history, Neil Gorsuch. Donald Trump reformed taxes even more than Ronald Reagan did. He pushed for regulation. He pushed for normalization deals between Israel and the Gulf states. He beat Hillary Clinton, and he also, to his credit, Judge, he passed the First Step Act, which was a major criminal justice reform push that I think a lot of libertarians agree with. So, I mean, do all of those things? Do you dismiss those things when in your analysis of him?
No, I don't dismiss those things, except for taxes, because where I live, taxes went up because we have the highest real estate and state income taxes in the union, and they're no longer deductible against your adjusted gross income for federal purposes. But that's just unique to New York, New Jersey, and California. It's the price I pay for living in this People's Republic of New Jersey. Everything you
on the First Step Act, though, I mean that in itself is huge. Right to try.
He and I talked about this at great length. It was a terrific thing to do. This resulted in letting people out of jail who shouldn't have been in jail in the first place. This is a reversal of a portion of the drug laws that were enacted by a Republican Congress and President Bill Clinton, which imposed lengthy jail sentences for simple possession of marijuana, which is now legal in 2/3 of the country. Yes, he does have a libertarian streak in him. He's in favor of a gay marriage because, as he said to me, it's none of the government's blankety blank. I won't use the actual word he used on your show, business, who you get married to. And of course, he's right. It is none of the government's business. So in some areas, yes, there were libertarian instincts. Did he understand government? No. Is he conversant with the Constitution? Absolutely not. Can he use the Justice Department as a plaything to torment his adversaries? Well, a lot of presidents have done that. He attempted to do it as well. But did government grow under Donald Trump? Yes, it did. Did he borrow money? How about $1 trillion in 4 years with no war? So the path of government growing and in our face and in our lives not only didn't stop, not only didn't go backwards, it continued to go forward.
Well, as Jefferson said, it is the tendency of government to grow and for liberty to shrink. It would probably take more than just one man in that position of power to shrink the size of government. We would also need a Congress that agreed with us as well. If you're just tuning in,
it would take a Congress of Austin Petersons and Thomas Massey's and Ron Paul in the White House and 5 Neil Gorsuches on the Supreme Court to shrink the government back to the confines of the Constitution.
If you just are tuning in, we're speaking to Judge Andrew Napolitano. He is the host of the Judging Freedom podcast, which you can find right here on YouTube and on download on any of your mobile devices, and read his weekly column at judgenap.com. Now, I think another point in the pro column too, Judge, was his hesitancy to get involved in wars. Donald Trump was, someone who was very much against getting involved in foreign conflicts, despite the fact that he did keep the drone program alive and did continue to engage in many of the conflicts that we were already embroiled in. However, from a rhetorical perspective, I think you and I appreciated that at a minimum that he was saying that it's not the role of the United States to be the policeman of the world. Now, I would like to see more of that. And quite frankly, I agreed with what he said last night, that possibly Russia might not have invaded Ukraine because they would have been more afraid of Donald Trump than they are of the senile, demented old man in the White House right now. But that leads us to our
Except the senile, demented old man in the White House is not running foreign and military policy. It's being run by the globalists in the State Department and in the Pentagon. What is he suggesting? That he would have introduced American firepower military to resist the Russians? Well, then we would have had World War III. I'll tell you where his instinct was good on this. And that's where he suggested that we should withdraw from the NATO treaty. Now, if we were not in NATO, we would not be concerned about an errant Russian missile landing in a Polish village yesterday and killing 2 Poles, because something like that would not have potentially triggered our legal obligation to get involved in a war against Russia. So his instinct in that respect was very good. Of course, he didn't have the support in the Congress to do that. The president can't withdraw us from a treaty. The Senate can de-ratify a treaty, takes 2/3 of the Senate. That's where Republicans and Democrats, Lindsey Graham and just pick any liberal Democrat, agree on, the need to draw Russian blood. Trump was decidedly anti-war in that respect.
Judge, now when it comes to the question of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, I believe Trump's argument was that he would have been able to get a deal done that would have prevented that conflict, or perhaps that Russia would have been so afraid of Donald Trump. And having lived through the Nixon era, must remember the foreign policy of the crazy bastard strategy. It is quite possible that Donald Trump is, crazy like a fox, pretending to be absolutely insane, that will do anything, which is, in my mind, and you and I have discussed this before, saber rattling does not violate the non-aggression principle. Puffing yourself up like a blowfish and making yourself look more dangerous than you really are is a legitimate strategy in terms of foreign policy in order to protect yourself from what someone else might do. Looking bigger, rattling your sabers, but not necessarily intervening or initiating conflict, which is, our mantra. So I believe that's probably that is a possibility that might be what Trump was discussing last night, but that's not the reality of where we live today. We now live in a situation where our enemies do not fear us around the world. Russia does not respect us. China acts with impunity. Iran acts with impunity, and these are countries that do not have our best interests in heart, and ones that we have to keep an eye on. So my question to you,
to which I say, who cares? They're not threats to our national security. They don't take my property or my freedom. Who cares what goes on in Iran? Who cares what the Chinese do? As long as they trade with us, that's all I'm concerned about.
Well, can I push back? Can I push? Let me push back on you here for just a moment, Judge. Put on my George W. Bush hat. China.
Oh, please don't even wear such a hat.
But this makes it more interesting, Judge, makes it more fun. China actively engages in subterfuge and uses its technology to undermine infrastructure here in the United States. Like China constantly wages cyber warfare against civilian targets here in the United States. It's a known.
Yeah.
Secret.
So what are we supposed to do? Bomb Beijing because of that?
Well, I guess I should ask you, Judge. I'm interviewing you, so I'm asking the questions here, Judge. So what should we do to that? I mean, if China is, that arguably is a violation of the non-aggression principle. Chinese foreign rogue agents are using computers to break computers here in the United States that are charged with the infrastructure that when you drive into Manhattan, those computers are responsible with directing, traffic across the bridge and for your safety when you cross into Manhattan. I mean, a foreign government is, in essence, committing acts of war on a daily basis. What should we do to that, Judge? How should we respond to something like that?
Well, we shouldn't be killing people. I guess the response needs to be proportionate. Under Aquinas's rules of war, the response has to be proportionate. They haven't killed a single American, as far as I know, with this. So if the foreign policy of the Chinese is to inveigle their way into our computer systems, we have to hire some smart geeks to find a way to resist that. But to suggest that China is a threat to our national security, Iran is a threat to our national security, Russia is a threat to our national security, it's hogwash.
I think I would disagree.
That's the Woodrow Wilson argument from World War I, because I don't like them or because they're harming a friend, they're therefore an enemy of ours.
Well, I think I would disagree with you that they're not a threat. I do believe that they are a threat. I think that China probably deliberately unleashed this COVID-19 pandemic on the world through that lab. It probably wasn't an accident. And if we did find out that that was the case, I mean, that would be certainly a violation of the non-aggression principle. And that would mean that China did deliberately kill Americans. But that's an argument we can have for another day. I simply don't agree with the neoconservatives that it's our job to police the world or that we should get into wars of intervention. But I think we need a strong national defense to prevent the kinds of threats that these countries do pose to us. I'd like to move on, Judge, to your column. At judgenap.com, you can read on a weekly basis. This one was really good, where you were talking about a program that went on during the Trump administration that involved national security as well as our Fourth Amendment rights. Do you want to explain to our listeners what your column's about this week?
Yeah, the FBI, thank you, Austin. The FBI during the Trump administration, and I can't imagine the president knew about this. This is a problem with
as a medic to be there to help my patients, and after an injury, I found myself as a patient. I experienced post-traumatic seizures. Depression is a big one that comes along with it, PTSD. So I pursued my PhD in neuroscience and regenerative medicine. The coalition has helped fund my academic pursuits. They genuinely care about helping the vet in whatever way that they can. Through supporting the coalition, you're supporting some of the veterans that have the biggest needs.
Visit saluteheroes.org to learn more.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun. Thank you.
Enough yet? Do facts no longer matter? Are lies to be encouraged instead of punished? This is not our inheritance. If truth no longer matters, we will not remain free for long. This is our generation's challenge, to defend our founders' hope that we the people could self-govern if we defend our right to get the facts. And right now, we're building the only defense of free people have. The facts on every politician, every position they held, every statement they've made, every vote they've made, and any cash they've taken. It's the real history on those now pandering for your vote. There are hundreds of young people building our defense right now, and they need your help. We all have our passions, but as our ancestors knew, when events become so foul they threaten us all, we must stand and defend each other. Please, have our backs. Join us at votesmart.org.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
We wish you a freedom Christmas. We wish you a freedom Christmas. We wish you a freedom Christmas and a liberty New Year. Socialists and commies may try to convince you that the holiday's all about free stuff. But let's be honest, we all know whose wallet Santa's gifts are coming out of. There ain't no such thing as a free stocking. Santa is the only guy with a big white beard promising free stuff that we want anything to do with this holiday. And if you don't believe, you don't receive. It's a capitalist, consumerist holiday, and it's time for a Santa-sized stimulus. Get your free market merch at the AP for Liberty shop today and stuff your socialist sisters' stockings full of capitalist cheer. Ho, 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 ho! Good morning, it's 8:51. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Joining me in studio after that great interview with Judge Napolitano, Edie Vogel.
Very, very interesting. Good morning again.
Yeah, we kind of...
Judge is, I still have a lot of respect for him, but I sometimes...
disagree.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully. Absolutely. The judge often has called me in the past in his speeches the right side of his brain because he and I are so alike, so similar in our ideological mindset. But I think, it's fun to, debate.
Yeah,
ideas
and get his take on
things.
It.
And I think that Trump, when it comes to the Trump question with the judge, is that I feel like I won't say he has what's called TDS. Have you heard about this? Trump derangement syndrome?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I don't think that he has that.
No.
But I think he takes a hard line on Trump. But it was good to see the judge kind of like, open up his eyes and admit that Trump had done some good things for liberty.
And then covered what, most people still understand that when President Trump likes to bloviate about himself all the time.
Yeah.
And it's I.
Me.
And
yeah.
me. So, that would be, and then I was struck by the fact that he said he hadn't voted for a Republican since Ronald Reagan.
Since Ronald Reagan, yeah.
Okay. And then when he also added on that he has known Trump for 30 years, and sounded like to me that maybe one time or another Trump asked him about a judge, being on a court and that type of thing. So I would think that they kind of know each other.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think though that that we speak to the judge every week and that he's been in Donald Trump's ear. Right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I worked with the judge in 2010 to 12, and then after that he went to all those meetings with Trump Tower. So if Trump, the judge calls me the right side of his brain. It's cool to think that in a small way I was kind of there.
Right. Well, I can see you guys having good conversation with each other while you probably work for Fox News.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The judge and I would sit down in his chamber. We call it the judge's chambers.
Yes. Yeah.
And would talk about
Now,
lots of these issues.
Remind me or bring me up to speed on when he was a judge. What kind of a judge was he?
He was a circuit court judge of New Jersey.
Okay.
Yes.
And was he booted out with an election process, or did he retire?
So this is it's an interesting question for those who
Well,
don't know. So he met Roger Ailes.
Roger Ailes, and that was the owner of.
He was the president.
President of Fox. No, one of the other national TV stations.
So Roger Ailes was the president of Fox News.
Okay.
And I don't think he may not have been president of Fox News at the time. Well, because the judge, and you can find a video of him on YouTube, he was on one of those. So he got hired
by
Ailes for a TV show. That was like, it was basically like what's the TV show?
Judge and Judy?
It's like that, like
People's Court. Okay.
Yeah, and I can't remember what it was, but if you go to his Wikipedia page, if you're interested, you can see it.
Yeah.
But he got hired for that TV show and did that for a short time, and Roger Ailes liked him so much that he hired him at Fox.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's something about the dad and his two sons who did Fox. What?
Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about him?
Well, I think Roger Ailes has passed away, right? Is he?
Yes. Roger Ailes passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay. And then I think he was also maybe caught in some
scandals
with the women and that kind of thing. I mean, I don't, I'm just trying
There's a lot of that going on at Fox. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but Roger Ailes, he was a great man in my mind. A lot of the allegations were allegations. I didn't see any of that stuff going on. I did hear about it while I was there.
Well,
and it does deserve to be mentioned. But I'll say this, that Roger Ailes was a great man and worked with
in that
Richard
industry.
Yes. He, because I work in production. So Roger Ailes is somebody that I kind of aspire to be. Not obviously a sexual harassment.
No.
But in terms of his
he
career,
had the skill set to do what he was hired to do.
Did you ever see that back in the 70s, Sammy Davis Jr., when he sang with Richard Nixon? Sammy Davis Jr. came out and sang "Nixon now more than ever, Nixon now more than ever."
Look that up.
Nixon now more than ever. We need Nixon now. But there's video of Sammy Davis Jr. singing out there with Richard Nixon. Well, it was Roger Ailes that introduced Sammy Davis Jr. to Richard Nixon. Roger Ailes was like the king. He was the guy who made the Republicans cool again, because Richard Nixon, it was after Richard Nixon got creamed by John F. Kennedy in the debates.
In the debates, yes.
When JFK murdered him, that Roger Ailes came up with a memo called "How to Get Putting Republicans on TV," because
it was so bad. Well,
he was so bad.
I was here and to understand those. I was old enough to understand what I was watching on the tube back then, to see poor old Nixon sweat like a pig.
Yes.
And savvy, suave JFK. Yeah.
And that was part of the big reason why JFK won.
Yeah.
Now, you might find this interesting. So Roger Ailes, he was kind of like somebody that I looked up to and admired. In 2008, I read that story about Roger Ailes writing a memo called "How to Get Republicans on TV." And decades later, after years of work, and initially Roger Ailes wanted to put the Fox News inside the White House, but then they realized, when we lose the White House, then the Democrats will own the station.
Yeah.
So what he did was he started an independent network that became Fox News. So I read about all this and I was fascinated about it. So in 2008, I'm in Washington, D.C., working as a volunteer coordinator for the Libertarians. And I read Roger Ailes' memo, and I wrote my own memo called "How to Get Libertarians on TV." The judge got that memo, took it to Roger Ailes, and Roger Ailes was so impressed with that memo that he hired me.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you didn't tell all that stuff.
And I moved to New York City in 2010 to produce Judge Napolitano's television show, all because I had read that memo that Roger Ailes had written. He was so impressed that some young man had not plagiarized, but basically copied what he had done back in the 70s to try and get a job.
Well, that's really
Isn't that
cool.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's good to
cool story,
let everybody know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little
Because you were just a young buck,
I was in my mid 20s. Now I'm 41 years old. Podcasting in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little story.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about why you shouldn't wash your turkey because of the salmonella thing. I guess I'll do that with Camellia tomorrow.
Yeah, you all talk about the turkey tomorrow.
Edie, thank you for coming
You're
to the
welcome.
show today.
It was fun.
Yeah. If you're watching us now, did you enjoy the show? And you're watching us over on YouTube, do me a favor, like the show, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click that little bell notification icon. There's a little bell on the live stream. You can just click it. That way you'll get notified whenever we have a new show, which is, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody, don't cut back on Thanksgiving because you don't have the dough.
No.
Just do it.
Just do it. Thanksgiving is one of those times.
That's
okay
right.
Splurge.
That's
and love
right.
your family.
Yes.
Love them dearly.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow. Camellia Peterson in studio all morning, tomorrow morning, on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
It's morning again in America. Our country is prouder and stronger and better.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today. Fire.
Your printing company stinks. They charge you too much money and they don't love America enough. We've got the solution. Patriot Printing USA. Whether you're running for office, saving souls, or just need business cards that will get you the new job you've been looking for, Patriot Printing USA has got you covered with the best prices around. Palm cards, brochures, bumper stickers, door hangers, you name it, we've got it. PatriotPrintingUSA.com. That's PatriotPrintingUSA.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
Average Americans are turning into conspiracy theorists at an unprecedented rate. Flip City Magazine was created for new converts to aid in their in-depth research along the path of absolute truth. We offer the hardest-hitting news and opinion delivered uncensored in print directly to your door. Display proudly on your coffee table or hide discreetly under your mattress. Flip City is the magazine they don't want you to see, much less read. Subscribe to Flip City Magazine today at flipcitymag.com.
I would remind you that extremists
defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.